Hey everybody, Alan with Rolling Through History here. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about some fun things that the kids get to do in the game. And we have hunting, fishing, and gathering. And this is all something they can do. Now, we had to change a couple of rules right before release here because we were having the problem where some kids always wanted to go hunting and it wound up slowing the game down a lot. So we actually changed the rules on that a little bit. Now your cart can only hold 60 days of food, and they can only go hunting if they're down to 55 days. They can go fishing as long as they're below 60 and gathering as long as they're below 60 days of food. But that's just to help not fight the time limit here, right? We don't want them constantly hunting when we're also trying to get somewhere. Didn't want to make them lose time just because if they needed to go hunt and fish for their food, they would have that ability without taking more time. So you'll see that in the book as well, and it'll explain it right up here. Hunting is pretty simple. You're going to have them roll their D20, just like almost everything in the game is going to be used. They'll roll, and then this one, they got a 19. So we come down to 19, it's an elk. Now you got to remember some of these animals aren't going to be in all the regions. So you may kind of be like, oh, there's not elk in, this particular area. So you can always switch it to some other type of animal. But after they roll, you see what animal they have, come up with a narrator as what they see, where they're at, all that kind of stuff. And then you're going to go and have them roll a D6. That D6 is 5. Right? That means it takes away five hit points from the animal. Animals have 6 hit points, just like everything else in the game does. On a 5, the animal is down, but it is not killed yet. And this is kind of your list down here that you can use for that. Okay. It also gives you the amount of food on either side. So after they get it down, that's how many days of food that they'll be able to harvest from that particular animal. On a 3 to 4, the animal is going to not be down, but it's going to run, and then they'll have to roll another D20 to see if they can find it. 10 or higher usually is what I do, an average roll. They can find it if it's lower than that. So like with a 9, they wouldn't be able to find it. You can decide if you want to give them a second chance. I would make that percentage of a 10 or higher a little higher if they're doing it a second time, make it a 14 or a 15, just because now it's going to be even harder to find that animal. And if they find it, then they can once again take another shot at it. With a 1 or a 2, they have a real high roll because that animal's not hurt that bad and it's really going to take off. They may not be able to follow a trail as well. Okay. And once again, you can always bump it up or down as you think is necessary. And then, of course, on a 6, the animal's immediately down. With bison and bears and mountain lions and all that stuff, what you'll do is you'll go back and you'll follow the combat rules for that particular animal because they are now in combat because that animal will fight back. So that kind of gives you an overview of the hunting. We'll jump over to fishing real quick. These are real simple tasks. If they decide to hunt or fish or gather, it's all right here. If they decide to fish, what you're going to do is decide if it's a creek or a stream, a river or a lake, and you can kind of base that off of where they're at on the map, or you can just decide, well, I think I'm going to have them on this particular thing today, or you can also roll a dice and decide using it split up. Once again, they'll roll their D20. They have to roll a 15 or higher on a creek, a 10 or higher on a river, or a 10 or higher in a lake. It's harder to catch in smaller bodies of water. If they do roll in a creek or a stream, they'll roll a D4. Right? There may not be as many fish in that stream. That tells them how many fish they get. Okay? If they're in a river or a lake, there are more fish there. They get to roll a bigger dice and have the potential of catching 6 fish instead of 4 as their highest number. Over here, it tells you how many fish you catch. On a 20, you automatically catch 4 fish. On a 20, you automatically catch 6 fish. And on a 20, you automatically catch 8 fish. And that is what we have here. So on your lake, you'll use a D8, which is this little diamond looking dice here. And that tells you how many fish you're going to catch there. In general, it takes 2 fish to make a day's worth of food. Last one here is our gathering section. And we're going to, once again, roll a 20 and follow the guide. We have 1, 3 to 9, 10. You just go down, find what you want. We got an 18, so that's 16 to 19. Enough food for 2 days. So in their gathering, they collect enough food for 2 days. If they roll a 1, right? 1s are bad. Player finds poisonous plants. Now, it's up to you if you want to give them the ability to roll to figure out if they can figure out that that plant is poisonous before they eat it. I usually don't, because that's kind of what this roll's for, right? They've already mistaken it. And then they're going to roll a d20. If they get a 10 or above, the player is sick, and then you just follow the sick rules. And that's pretty much the end of hunting, fishing, and gathering. It's all laid out real nice and neat here. There's more information that kind of guide you a little bit more, but this is just a quick rundown of how to do it. We appreciate you watching this series. We might come back a little bit with how to be a good narrator and what their job is, and how to be a good player and what their job is. And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.